I need to tell you about a conversation I had this week that genuinely unsettled me. A patient sat in my office and told me she does not eat sugar. She does not drink soda. She avoids candy and desserts. She has been disciplined about her diet for years. She looked at me and said, "I have cut out everything bad and my brain is still getting worse. I do not understand what I am doing wrong." So I asked her to walk me through a completely ordinary day, hour by hour, everything she puts in her body from the moment she wakes up. She started with her morning coffee. She said she drinks it every day, 2 cups, sometimes 3. I asked her what she puts in it. She paused. She said, "Just my creamer." She said it like it was nothing, like it was invisible, like it did not even count as something she consumes. In 32 years of medicine, I have learned that the most dangerous foods are never the ones people worry about. They are the ones people do not even notice. She did not want to appear on camera, but she recorded this because she wants you to hear what nobody told her. Listen.
I have done everything right. I stopped eating cookies. I stopped drinking juice. I cut out the cereal. I read the labels on everything I buy. I am so careful. So why am I standing in the middle of conversations with absolutely no idea what we were just talking about? Why do I open my phone to call someone and by the time the screen lights up, I have forgotten who I was going to call? Why does my brain feel like it is running on 2% battery by noon every single day? I am 71 years old. I drink my coffee every morning with my creamer, the same one I have used for years, and that is it. That is my one little thing. My husband teases me about how much creamer I use. I like my coffee sweet and smooth. It is the only indulgence I allow myself. Everything else is clean. I do not understand how I can be this careful and still feel like my mind is dissolving. Something does not add up.
Something does not add up. She was right about that. It did not add up until she mentioned the creamer. That one word changed the entire conversation. Because what she calls her one little thing, her tiny morning indulgence, is one of the most chemically loaded, gut-destroying, brain-damaging liquids a person over 60 can pour into their body. She has been drinking it every single day, 2 to 3 times a day, for years, and she never once counted it as food. She never read the label. She never questioned it. It was just creamer. It was just coffee. My name is Dr. Margaret Whitmore. I have spent 32 years specializing in brain health and healthy aging for people over 60, with a deep focus on the connection between the gut and the brain. I created this channel because the things that are hurting my patients the most are almost never the things they suspect. They are the invisible habits, the overlooked ingredients, the daily rituals so small and so routine that they disappear into the background of life. Today, I want to talk about one of the most invisible brain poisons I encounter in my practice. It is not a food. It is not a snack. It is a liquid that most people over 60 pour into their coffee every single morning without ever reading the label, without ever wondering what is in it, without ever imagining that it could be connected to the fog and the forgetfulness that has been stealing their clarity for years. I am talking about flavored coffee creamers, the liquid ones in the bottle, the powdered ones in the canister, French vanilla, hazelnut, caramel, mocha, sweet cream, the ones that come in seasonal flavors and line an entire shelf at the grocery store, the ones that turn your bitter black coffee into something that tastes like dessert. These products are not cream. They are not milk. In most cases, they contain no dairy at all. They are a manufactured blend of chemicals, industrial oils, corn syrup, or artificial sweeteners, and a list of ingredients so long and so unrecognizable that most people would not be able to pronounce half of them. People do not read the label because they do not think of creamer as food. It is just something you add to coffee. It does not even register as a dietary choice. That is exactly what makes it so dangerous, and that is exactly why millions of people over 60 are unknowingly pouring a brain toxin into their cup every single morning and blaming their age for the consequences. I want to stop here and say something important. If you use flavored creamer in your coffee, I am not judging you. I am not shaming you. You chose a product that was designed to be irresistible, marketed to feel harmless, and packaged to look like a simple dairy product. The companies that make these creamers know exactly what they are doing. They know you will never read the back of the bottle. They know you will see the picture of a coffee cup on the label and feel reassured. They're counting on your trust. The fact that nobody warned you about what is inside is not your failure. It is theirs. Let me tell you what is actually inside that creamer, because this is where the betrayal becomes clear. The base of most flavored creamers is not cream or milk. It is water mixed with hydrogenated vegetable oil. Hydrogenated oil is created through an industrial process that forces hydrogen into liquid oil under extreme pressure to make it solid or semi-solid at room temperature. This process creates compounds that your body has no natural ability to process. When these compounds enter your gut, they are profoundly hostile to the beneficial organisms that live there. The organisms that produce the chemical messengers your brain depends on for memory, focus, and clarity cannot function properly in the presence of these industrial fats. Think of it like coating the roots of a plant in plastic. The plant is still alive. The soil is still there. Water is still available. Nothing can get through. The roots are sealed off from the nutrients they need, and the plant slowly starves while appearing fine on the surface. That is what hydrogenated oils do to the beneficial organisms in your gut. They create a barrier that disrupts the exchange of nutrients, suffocates the organisms that are trying to support your brain, and allows the harmful ones to flourish unopposed. Next on the ingredient list is some form of sugar. In liquid creamers, it is usually corn syrup or high-fructose corn syrup. In the sugar-free versions, it is artificial sweeteners that carry their own set of gut-destroying properties. A single serving of most flavored creamers contains 4 to 7 grams of sugar. That does not sound like much until you realize that most people do not use a single serving. They pour freely, sometimes 3 or 4 times the listed serving size, into every cup. If you drink 2 to 3 cups a day, the total hidden sugar from creamer alone can easily reach 30 to 50 grams. That is more sugar than a can of soda, consumed invisibly, dissolved into something you think of as just coffee. I want to pause here because I think this moment needs space. If you use flavored creamer every day and you have been experiencing brain fog, forgetfulness, or that feeling of your mind running on empty by afternoon, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below this video. You can simply write, "I never read the label on my creamer." That is all. Because someone else watching this video right now is hearing this for the first time, and they are feeling the shock of realizing that the one thing they never questioned might be the one thing that matters most. Your comment tells them they are not alone. Please share. Now let me show you what this combination of hydrogenated oils and hidden sugar does inside your gut every single morning. When the creamer hits your digestive system, the hydrogenated oils coat the gut lining and interfere with the delicate barrier between your digestive system and your bloodstream. This barrier, which is already thinner and more fragile after 60, relies on the tight connections between its cells to keep harmful particles contained. The industrial fats in hydrogenated oil weaken these connections. They make the barrier more permeable, more leaky, more vulnerable to particles slipping through that were never supposed to enter your bloodstream. At the same time, the sugar or artificial sweetener in the creamer feeds the harmful organisms in your gut, the ones that produce inflammatory waste, while suppressing the beneficial ones your brain depends on. It is a two-front attack arriving in a single pour. The oil weakens the wall. The sugar feeds the invaders. Together, they create a daily cascade of silent inflammation that begins in your gut and ends in your brain, usually within hours. Imagine a castle surrounded by a moat. The moat keeps the enemies out while the people inside live peacefully. Now imagine that every morning, someone pours a substance into the moat that thins the water and dissolves the bridge mechanism, while simultaneously feeding and strengthening the army camped outside the walls. Day after day, the moat weakens and the enemy grows. The people inside the castle do not notice at first because the walls still stand. They still feel safe. The damage is happening below the surface, in the moat, in the foundations, in places nobody thinks to look. One day, things start to break through. The people inside feel confused, disoriented, unable to think clearly or remember what they were doing. They blame themselves. They blame their age. They never look at the moat. That moat is your gut lining. That substance being poured in every morning is your flavored coffee creamer. The army outside is the inflammation that is reaching your brain. There is another component in most flavored creamers that I find particularly concerning. Many contain a compound called sodium caseinate along with various emulsifiers, stabilizers, and artificial flavorings. These synthetic additives are designed to give the creamer a smooth, thick, creamy texture that mimics real dairy. Your gut does not recognize these compounds as food. It treats them as foreign invaders, which triggers additional immune responses and adds yet another layer of low-grade inflammation to a system that is already under siege. Every cup of coffee with flavored creamer delivers not one, not two, but multiple simultaneous attacks on your gut health, and every one of those attacks echoes into your brain. I want you to hear from another patient of mine. She also chose to share through audio only, but she wanted you to understand what happened to her.
This is embarrassing to admit, but I need to say it. About 6 weeks ago, I was making coffee for myself and my sister who was visiting. I poured the coffee, reached for my creamer, and my sister looked at the bottle and said, "Do you know what is in that?" I said, "It is just creamer." She turned the bottle around and started reading the ingredients out loud. I did not recognize a single word after the first three. She asked me how long I'd been using it. I said at least 8 or 9 years, every single day. She looked at me and said, "That is not food." That same week, I forgot my sister was staying with me. I woke up at 2 in the morning, heard a noise in the guest room, and my heart started pounding because I thought someone had broken into my house. I almost called the police before I remembered she was there. I had forgotten that my own sister was sleeping in the room next to mine. When I told her about it the next morning, she did not laugh. She just looked sad. That scared me more than the forgetting itself.
She forgot that her own sister was staying in her house. After 9 years of drinking flavored creamer every single day, multiple times a day, her gut had been so thoroughly compromised that her brain could not hold on to a fact as basic as who is sleeping in the next room. When I looked at the creamer she had been using, the ingredient list was 17 items long. Hydrogenated oil, corn syrup, sodium caseinate, dipotassium phosphate, mono and diglycerides, artificial flavors. This is what she had been pouring into her body every morning for nearly a decade, and she called it just creamer. Now I want to talk about the solution, and I want to make this as clear and simple as possible, because this change is one of the easiest I ever recommend and one of the most powerful in its results. Stop using flavored coffee creamer and replace it with a real, whole food alternative. Let me give you specific options that work. The simplest replacement is a splash of real half and half or whole milk. Real dairy, actual cream from an actual cow, has a short ingredient list. Cream and milk. That is it. Your gut recognizes it. Your body knows how to process it. It contains none of the hydrogenated oils, none of the corn syrup, none of the synthetic emulsifiers. It makes your coffee smooth and rich, and it does it with a food your body has been processing successfully for your entire life. If you are avoiding dairy, unsweetened oat milk or unsweetened almond milk are excellent alternatives. Read the label and make sure the ingredient list is short and contains no added sugar, no artificial sweeteners, and no hydrogenated oils. If you like your coffee sweet, add your own sweetness at home with half a teaspoon of raw honey or a tiny pinch of cinnamon. The sweetness you add yourself from a real, whole source is infinitely less damaging than the corn syrup or artificial sweetener hidden inside flavored creamer. Let me walk you through what happens inside your body when you make this switch. On the first day, your gut receives coffee with real cream or real milk instead of a chemical cocktail. The absence of hydrogenated oils means the gut lining is not being coated and compromised. The beneficial organisms are not being suffocated. The absence of corn syrup or artificial sweetener means the harmful organisms are not being fed their preferred fuel. For the first time in possibly years, your morning coffee is not launching a multi-front attack on your gut. During the first week, the beneficial organisms that have been suppressed begin to stabilize. Without the daily chemical assault, they start to recover. The The gut lining, no longer being weakened by industrial fats at every cup, begins its repair process. The cells start to rehydrate and reconnect. The gaps start to close. During the second and third week, the cumulative effect starts to show. Less inflammation is reaching the brain. The signals from the gut become cleaner and more consistent. Many of my patients tell me this is one of the fastest changes they have ever felt. Some noticed a difference within the first week. One person told me that by day 5, the morning fog that had been her companion for years was noticeably thinner. By week 3, she said it was almost gone. She told me she could not believe something that simple, something that small, something she had dismissed as just creamer could have been doing that much damage for that many years. She said she felt angry and relieved at the same time. Angry that nobody told her. Relieved that it was fixable. I want to be practical because I know the taste transition matters. If you have been drinking French vanilla or hazelnut creamer for years, switching to plain half and half is going to taste different. It will not be as sweet. It will not have that dessert-like flavor. That is normal. Give yourself a week. Your taste buds adjust faster than you think. By the end of the first week, most people tell me the old creamer tastes sickeningly sweet when they try it again. The real cream starts to taste richer, cleaner, more satisfying. Many tell me they actually prefer it and cannot believe they drank the chemical version for so long. I need to be honest with you, as I always am. Coffee creamer is not the only factor affecting your gut health and brain clarity. Many things contribute. What I am telling you is that for people over 60 who drink flavored creamer daily, this single switch is often one of the most immediately noticeable changes they make for their mental sharpness. It is hiding in the most invisible part of their day, dissolved into something they love, never questioned, never suspected. If this video has made you want to walk to your kitchen and turn that creamer bottle around, I would be honored if you subscribe to this channel. Every week, Dr. Margaret Whitmore explores a different connection between your gut and your brain after 60. We look at the foods, the habits, and the quiet daily choices that shape how clearly you think, how well you remember, and how fully you live your life. Everything is shared in honest, simple language because you deserve the truth about what you put in your body. There are thousands of people in this community who have had their own version of this realization, and every one of them will tell you the same thing. The small changes matter most. When you subscribe, you join them, and I promise this is a space built on care, honesty, and respect. I want to close with something that I hope stays with you tomorrow morning. You are going to wake up. You are going to walk to the coffee maker. You are going to reach for that bottle or that canister the way you have every morning for years. This time, before you pour, turn it around. Read the back. Count the ingredients. Look for the words you cannot pronounce. Then make a decision. Not out of fear. Not out of guilt. Out of knowledge. Out of respect for the brain that has carried you through 70, 80, 90 years of life and deserves better than hydrogenated oil and corn syrup dissolved into its morning fuel. Pour real cream instead. Add a touch of honey if you need sweetness. Take that first sip and know that for the first time in a long time, your coffee is not fighting against your brain. It is just coffee, the way it was always supposed to be. You are not too late. Your clarity has not left permanently. It has been buried under layers of invisible chemical interference, and you now hold the power to start clearing those layers away. 1 cup at a time, 1 morning at a time. Starting tomorrow, you are exactly on time.